Hey everybody, this is Robbie. I had a friend of mine who asked me the other day if I would be up for making a kind of a mashup for, I think her daughter's dance recital or dance competition might be a better way to go. I ended up making something for her, and then I realized that it might be kind of a good idea for me to kind of show what I did to kind of help them and maybe anybody else who's looking for it. Way to do the same thing. So I'm going to use a couple open source tools today, so completely free. The only thing you really need to bring is pretty much your imagination and the songs that you actually want to cut up a little bit. There's a lot of tools, like I said, that can work with this. I used to use Audacity, which we're going to use today, which is a free tool. I've since actually graduated to Cubase just because I need a little bit more of my own production, my mastering skills. And really, they're kind of about the same when you get down to it. It's just use a tool that you're familiar with and kind of works for you. At the end of the day, getting something working and output is totally the way to go. So Audacity, if you're not familiar with it, Google it, whatever. Just make sure you're getting something from called audacityteam.org. There are downloads. There's a few other ones on different sites. Just go to the source. A long time ago, Audacity actually had a problem where there was some spyware that was floating around as Audacity. But just make sure it looks like this terrible site. They don't really get points for marketing or branding, but it kind of works out. Anyway, grab a copy, download it. There's a few different versions of it. I think it works pretty much on every platform out there if you're a Mac person. We're on Windows today, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Everything else be in the actual application itself, and we'll go from there. I'm going to actually use a couple of the songs that I was asked to do before, so this is going to be kind of a cut up of something that I'm familiar with just for a little bit of ease into this. But it's pretty simple. Even if you've never dealt with a multi-track recorder or anything before, just grab your file. We're using MP3s. The better quality that you can grab, the better the output. Basically, the whole garbage in, garbage out, quality in, quality out is kind of the way you go. I grabbed these from Amazon Music's MP3 store, so about $1 a pop, download, and then we're going to go here, drop it in. It'll actually import and give you what's called a waveform, which is this glorious thing we're seeing here. The time controls are pretty simple at the top. Just kind of click where you want to start playing, and if you hit space or this play button up here, you'll actually hear the song that we're dealing with. Right. Not going to get too much into the song, but where we ended up being, or what we wanted was about midway through the song, and up here that I think it defaults to minutes and seconds. You can play around with different ways of seeing it. If you get down to kind of here, you see this nice little drop down. What's wrong with being? What's wrong with being? Now that's great, but we want two songs here. So the next song that she wanted was this other one. Click and drag in. We don't want these to be on top of each other. So this little hand we want to kind of drag around, kind of pop it right around here. And what we ended up doing is we've got that first song, the confident song, playing first, and then once it gets to around here, they'll both play at the same time. And this is going to be a little bit of a mess. What's wrong with being? What? So you hear two songs playing at the same time. What we want to do is highlight most of this. And I'm going to delete that. Now you can always zoom in and get to a crazy amount of detail. And right about here. Right there. So I want to trim out this little bit. And I actually want to trim out this of this song. And all I'm doing is highlighting and then hitting delete on my keyboard here. But you could do a few different ways of approaching this. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Click here. And that right there is poor man's mixing. Now, just for kicks, what I ended up actually doing, because the third song that we ended up going into, I didn't actually like the way that they transitioned. And this is where you get to play around a little bit. So if I drop in a little bit of a sound effect, which I actually got from Pixabay, which I didn't know did sounds until this morning. But I'm going to come in here, and I know just by looking at the waveform that I can click to here, trim it off, play it a little bit. Pop it, it's pop it. of just fades off right there, right before the song will kick back in. But I can splice this little guy in, and I do want these to overlap a little bit. So right about here, about here.
It's poppin', it's poppin', it's poppin', it's poppin'.
Simple little sound effect. Now, this whole thing, that's it. You can continue to just kind of iterate on this. I knew, like I said, I knew how these songs were actually going to splice together based on what we did before. So this was just a pretty simple rehash. Exporting them is pretty simple. If I can highlight all of them, there's better ways to do this, but if you click around, you'll find out what works best for you. But file, export audio, and then it'll give you an option to export it as an MP3 or whatever you actually want. Just make sure you're not overwriting some of your source material because you might actually want that again. Create multiple files, many files, iterate, save. As you go through, you can save the project itself as a project file, and that will allow you to go have some history. You can open up different versions of it. You can cut it up a little bit, but just know that it's just kind of like any other document you've got. The moment you create a different project, if you edit it, any other file is not really going to have it. So get in there, play around with a little bit more. Up in, Generate, there's different plugins you can actually get to have pianos or different effects in the actual effects itself, something that's really helpful for this. EQ, so you can actually cut out low ends, high ends, mid range, play around with that a little bit. You can time stretch a little bit, which is better left for a different kind of tutorial here. But also within here, there's ways to fade in and fade out, which is actually what DJs do using different controllers, turntables, mixers, that type of thing. You can simulate that in a DAW, get it to kind of how you like it, save it, export it, and kind of iterate from there. But anyway, if you like this, let me know. I'm happy to do more of these, hopefully with less rambling, and then we can kind of get going from there. Hope your journey is there, and make sure to share what you got. Cheers.